A lot of people ask me, why is it that their e-bike monitor shows that they still have 40% battery capacity left, but on that last hill climb to home, their e-bike actually has less power as compared to the start of the ride with a fully charged battery? So today, I thought I'd talk to you about e-bike battery range and power and how it's displayed on your e-bike monitor. Now, first off, let me state, this isn't going to be one of those facts and figures videos with, all kinds of electrical formulas and calculations. This video is simply based on my own real-world e-bike experiences and what I've learned in my everyday e-biking riding adventures, and maybe a little from my electrical engineering background. Now, I'm a heavy e-bike rider, as in heavy. And I live in a very steep and hilly area, and I live on the very top of a mountain. So whichever way I ride, it starts out as a downhill adventure. I have what I call my home loop, which is the loop I do when I want to do a quick local ride just to stretch out. Now, the loop is about, I'd say 15 miles round trip, and it's a great scenic e-bike route. But the last 5 to 6 miles are a steep uphill grinder to get home. And on those uphill grinders, there are days I just don't have the oomph to get home on pedal assist 3 or even 4. On those days, I use low gear and pedal assist 5, and sometimes I even have to use the throttle. Now, I used to have my monitor set to show the battery charge in percentage, and I couldn't figure out why when the monitor showed 40% capacity left, that I wasn't getting full power out of the motor. So I switched to having the monitor display the battery power in voltage instead. And I noticed that when the display dropped and showed around 45 to 46 volts, which was about 40% when shown on the percentage mode, I didn't have the higher throttle power, and I had to pedal much harder and even rest a bit halfway up the hill. Now, using the voltage display, I can judge how much power I need to get back up that hill, which means I use a lower pedal assist in the beginning of the ride to save my battery. Now, I've tried this with my second battery, my backup battery, and I had the exact same results. Even though the percentage displayed showed that I still had 40% battery power left, which was showing 46 volts on the voltage display, the power was much reduced, and I had to work much harder in all the pedal assist modes. Now, on flat ground, this really wouldn't be an issue, but on hills, I much prefer to have some power in reserve. And that's one of the reasons why I charge my batteries to 100% after each ride. Also, by keeping my monitor display set to show voltage, I can monitor my range and the power I have in reserve much better. Now, here's a basic and super simple, non-technical definition for e-bike batteries and the power they have shown. Volts equals power, and amp hours equal range, and watts equals power to the motor. So when you use your battery to say 40%, your amp hours drop, which means your wattage to your motor drops. So obviously, as you ride, your amp hours are used, which cuts down on your range. So when you hit the hills with lower volts showing on the monitor, your total wattage to your motor is reduced, thereby reducing the power. Now, all this simply means as your battery gets used, you have less power and range. So when your battery shows 40%, that doesn't mean you still have full power as if your battery is at 100% charged. Now, keep in mind, this is just a very basic definition of how this all works. Now, I could break out a bunch of graphs and charts and electrical formulas and all the other factors, but why? Just know that in general, as your battery gets used, you'll have less power or wattage available to the motor, which means less range available. Now I ride an e-bike with a 1,000-watt motor, and I have two e-bike batteries. One, a 48-volt, 21-amp-hour battery, and a 48-volt, 14.5-amp-hour battery. Now, it takes a lot of power to spin that motor with me on board. They'll both easily carry me through most of my rides when fully charged, and since I hate pushing or pedaling super hard when I'm tired, I keep them fully charged for that very reason. Now, I know, some of you are going to say it's not good to charge your e-bike batteries to 100% each time, and that'll shorten the lifespan of your batteries. Now, all I can say is I've had my batteries for over 2 years with almost daily use, and I haven't noticed any decrease in power or range. And with a charging life cycle of over 1,000 charges per battery, I calculate I have at least 4 to 6 years of good battery life in each of them. And so I don't worry too much about that charging. I figure charging the way I do is well worth any small lifetime trade-offs versus pushing my e-bike up that damn hill to get home.